Caramel Sunshine, written by Alessandra Melchionda. Diego waited outside, a red rose in his hand, his eyes lingering on the shiny metal plate on Anna's door. Anna 40. That was a strong statement that screamed independence. No man was living here, he assured himself, and some of the tension in his shoulders eased. Anna opened the door, and Diego's smile faded. He swore under his breath in Spanish and pushed himself away from the wall. His gaze moved over the sensual woman in front of him, and suddenly he felt as if he was seeing her for the first time. Her chestnut hair fell rich and loose on her bare shoulders, and he almost reached out to touch it. His gaze fell on her full lips, skimmed over her long neck, took in how perfectly the black dress fitted on her breasts, on her slender waist, on her deliciously round hips and slim thighs. A pair of killer high heels made her legs look even longer. By the time they fixed back on Anna's, Diego's eyes were dark with desire. She rested one hand on her hip, shifting on her impossibly high heels. Was she trying to drive him crazy on purpose? Before he could think, Diego's free hand went to the back of her neck and pulled her toward him. With an unbalanced step, Anna landed against his chest. She smelled of spicy honey. His fingers curled in her hair, and he felt her shiver in his arms. His mouth was inches from hers now. He could feel the warmth of her irregular breath. "Careful, Anita," Diego said in a low, husky voice, "if you don't want to be my appetizer tonight." He slowly skimmed the silky rose over Anna's jaw, right where he wanted to taste her with his lips, and when she leaned against him and spread her palms on his chest, he almost groaned. Her eyes widened in surprise, and he cursed his racing heart for giving him away. Diego glanced over Anna's shoulder. The door was still open behind her. It would only take a couple of steps for him to take them both inside and show her that they were meant to be together. It took all of his self-control to take a step back. He locked his eyes on hers and cocked his head to the side. "This is for you." She blinked, as if it was taking her a long moment to focus on the flower that Diego was holding between their bodies. Apparently, he wasn't the only one with a dizzy head right now. Good. Oh, thank you. I'll put it in water. It'll only be a minute," she said, obviously trying to compose herself. But she couldn't hide her burning cheeks. Diego liked that he could make her blush. Anna walked through the door and Diego followed her inside. Her apartment was bright, all white walls and huge windows, simple and clean, just like her. She stretched to reach a small vase sitting on the top of a tall glass cabinet. The fabric of her dress stretched with her, and Diego sighed. This was going to be a long night. He followed her into the kitchen and looked around. Her laptop sat on the table next to her briefcase and a pile of papers. Did the woman ever stop working? If they lived together, he would make sure she would forget about working at home. On the counter by the fridge, Diego noticed 2 thick architecture books and a few issues of Luxury Houses of the World. He picked up one of the magazines and looked through it. "Do you still like architecture, Anita?" She glanced over her shoulder from the sink where she was rinsing out the vase and smiled. "I do, actually. I subscribed to Luxury Houses of the World a few years ago so that I wouldn't miss an issue. That magazine is a classic. It's been around for at least 10 years. "I know. I bought you the first one. Do you remember?" he asked her mentally. Anna's smile faded. She gave a little nod and turned to face the kitchen window again. Diego covered the space between them and had to fight the impulse to lock his arms around her waist. "What's bothering you?" he whispered. "Nothing's bothering me," she said in a pitched voice that betrayed her, and Diego had his answer. God, he liked that she was so composed and professional when she was in charge, but she looked a little crazy around him. The small vase overflowed all over the sink, and Diego chuckled. "Anita, just put the poor rose in water and let's get going. I'm taking you to the lake."